Right? So Cassie Senghor is a Trinidadian poet and author. He has authored 3 books. Poems, I'm afraid to say, is Like This and Fire's Voice. Right? Cassie is a past president of the Writers Union of Trinidad and Tobago and also the Circle of Poets of Trinidad and Tobago. He loves calypso, he loves good conversation, right? And he loves a little pecan inside of there too, right? So I wouldn't, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to this evening session featuring Cassie Senghor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicholas Sosa, for your kind introduction to today's production. And without further ado, I am going to introduce our first reader, who is Dr. Aisha Mckenzie Mavinger, and who has authored several books and published in anthologies. She has presented poetry at spoken word events since 1986. She has also run writing and poetry workshops in theaters, schools, prisons, senior citizens, Galaxy J2 Core, Mr. Harry Charanarayan. Could you kindly mute your mics, please? Thank you. Yes, thank you, Harry. Galaxy J2 Core and H. You mute your mics, please. She has also run writing and work and poetry workshops in theaters, schools, prisons, senior citizen centers, and art venues. After a break from the poetry scene, she is now working on her first poetry collection. Aisha and I have been also working in recent times on editing that poetry collection that I referred to there. And she is going to read today, Everybody Knows. Aisha, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Everybody Knows by Cassie Senghor from Fire's Voice. Everybody knows what a Chinese is, what a Syrian is, what a Lebanese is. Everybody knows what an Indian is, but nobody knows my name. Everybody knows I have a nose and an ear, the texture of my hair, who light-skinned, who fair. Everybody knows that I don't care, that nobody knows my name. Everybody knows Mary Dreary, full of grace. Adam and Eve start this race. The color of Michael Jackson's face. Everybody knows how to put me in my place by calling me some other name. Everybody knows I'm not Guinean, but carnival woman when I whine in a band. Everybody knows, but nobody knows where I come from. Everybody knows I'm not Ethiopian, but Somalian when I'm starving. Everybody knows I'm not Mozambican, but Congo man when I'm eating. Everybody knows I'm not Egyptian, but West Indian because of Columbus. Everybody knows I'm not Rwandan, but nigger man when I cuss. Everybody knows, but who knows where I come from? Everybody knows I'm not Tanzanian, but a Negro who don't want to know. Everybody knows I'm no Ithurian, but a pygmy who don't want to grow. Everybody knows, but who care where I come from? Everybody knows I mix with Spanish rice, I mix with German lice, mixed with French advice. But no one knows who mixed it. Everybody knows I'm an Anglican Catholic, a Roman Catholic, apostolic. Everybody knows I get all kind of licks, yet no one licks my spirit. Everybody knows I know nothing, I grow nothing, I have nothing to show. Everybody knows, everybody knows. Everybody knows where my gold is. Everybody knows how to assault me. Then on a mission, try to console me when their decision is to divide and control me. So now I can't even recognize me. Everybody knows, everybody knows, everybody knows I'm the oldest from the forest, the blackest. Everybody knows my story, but not me, but not me, but not me. Everybody knows my glory. Why not me? Why not me? Why not me? My name is African. I come from Al-Kibulan and I mix with blood of lion. I'm the strongest and the craftiest. Everybody knows my greatness. Cradle of civilization, drum nation, mathematician. Everybody knows. Everybody knows where time began, where the fatherland, where the motherland, where our first beat pan. Everybody knows who is the son of the sun, what distance I could run, the original musician. Everybody knows, everybody knows. So stop mocking, pretending. Everybody knows, the beginning's the same as the ending. Thank you.
Well, I'm clapping, and you know, if everybody put up the thing, I'm really thankful for that, Aisha. Great stuff. And so we are on to a beautiful evening. I would say that everybody here gathered this afternoon is conveying the word. Whatever that word is, you know it better than I do. And that word continues as Senghor continues along the road, along the path of writing and writing poetry. Our next reader has been, let's say, a colleague, but this is way back in the 70s. And he has been a member, like myself, of the Writers Union of Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Haricharan Narayan is a retired teacher and author in his own right. He's the author of Days Gone By and The Heroes of Mearo. In these books, his love for country life and the good times of yesterday are reflected. He is currently working on a new book. He reads the poem Along This Way. Mr. Haricharan. Harry? Did I see Harry's name earlier? Did I?
Are you hearing me?
Right, yes, we are now. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm going to read one of your poems along the way. And I think it's very interesting. The one we heard just now was a classic. And I think this one might be also in the same line. Along the way, this way. If heaven helped us all, then why on earth do we bawl? To think we're helpless when we suffer and denied the present for a hereafter. A son born, different is still a son. No alteration, no need to run into belief that a difference is causes to kill oneself or another in the face of some will. Life in this body is opportunity to let go of stuff, and we'd rather not see. If only we took the time to chill, we might discover or even realize a thrill. The past and future are illusory, a history, a view of how we prefer things to be. It hurts, I know, cause I've been there, seated in the midst of misery and fear. But that was not always so. I held on to what I should have let go. The good times, the friendships of compulsion to show just how normal I was so that no one would know. The tears for years when caregivers had left, the grief with no sight of relief, just regret. To raise oneself from down in the mud and rise like a lotus and learn how to bud. The teachings I received began like this. There is suffering, a cause and end, a path to bliss. Not the airy-fairy kind of stupidness, but a step-by-step mind that embraces stress. So that's my song to you this night. No one has challenged Buddha, nor did he claim to be right. From centuries come down to present day, his practices will help us stay in our bodies where come what may, awareness seats itself to watch differences at play. I think that's the end.
Thank you very much, Harry. Cheers. Cheers. Well done.
Well, that's your poem.
It's your rendition, and I love it. And I think others do too. So as a writer, there's that transition, you know. One is writing, but also one is aging. So, whereas in the 70s, which would have me in the 20s, sort of like thing, you know, I would have written the opening poem.
Okay.
And this last year now, part of the transition going through life, that what Harry just read would have been written, I think, this year. Yeah, it's not even, that's part of any of my publications. So, you know, I'm very thankful for that rendition, Harry. And now, I think we have made a change there for Sister Mariella to come on and read for us. Now, I have a little situation here with with getting Mariella's bio up. So I'm going to say what I know about the lady. She is a fabric artist and a creative at large, as she has put it. She loves to delve into literary work and has herself been a member of the group there with Derek Walcott, performed also with him, been on stage with him, does drama and so on. I've seen some of her work, and it's so nice to also know, I could add, that we share the same birth date. You know, I sort of really appreciate that also as part of our connection, our connectivity. And again, here the word here is what you make it. Make it. Mariella comes to us with the background as described and more. To render night out, light out. Mariella.
Hi, everyone. Good evening to you. And I'm here to render, as Cassie said, night out, light out. If I had time and was asked to choose, I would put on my dancing shoes, go to where they play the blues, and in no time my ego would lose. Myself I lose, but not my measure, though time itself is not my treasure. The drummers knock tick-tocks my leisure. The bassman's pluck rocks my pleasure. The clock on the wall seems funny now, telling me it's time somehow to sip my last and take a bow. Instead, I hear me making a vow. To the singer with a sultry voice, is it your lips or mine that's moist? You'll be mine, you have no choice. They threw me out with a timely hoist. Now I have some time to think, to let events mellow and sink. Was I solid or on the brink? Next time, I won't drink so much ink. Thank you.
Reactions, yeah, that's the idea. I know everybody is clapping, but we are muted, so we'll get some of that noise contribution at a later point in our program. Mariella, yes, well done, love it.
Thank you, thank you.
And I'm saying that, I believe, on behalf of everyone here present. I'm trying to put up, I'm using reactions and, right, okay, yeah. Right, okay, I'm now going to get it right. Okay. I'm trying to put up my reactions, you know. We all deserve to recognize each other as we move along this way. Even when we do our night outs and lights out routine, whether it's socializing or liming or reading or whatever we do. I want to just make a little introduction here to ask for a moment's silence for those who have passed away recently with the virus. One of our members had told me that her mother and our members had that her mother and grandmother had it, and I don't know what the status is now, but I trust that there's improvement in health. Many have died, many are suffering, and many are, what do I say about that? And many just are there, like ourselves, here we are, not knowing anything, anti-vaccine, vaccine, conspirating the works. There is also a friend of mine who, maybe she's on, and she says that she's down and she's not going to name it. And here we are. So just a moment's silence for all those who have passed, all those who are suffering, and those of us who are still here, but none the wiser, so to speak. Thank you all very much. So,
Cassie, you accidentally muted yourself.
oh boy, so sorry. Wow. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I met Harry on this platform here in the group Poetry and Prose group a few months ago, and a constant contributor of poetry, prose, and humor. Harry has, we went through the poem that he decided to read, that he chose to read. And at the end of reading it out for me, he made a laugh there, you know, which I could still hear now, you know, a laugh of recognition of what he had read. I interpreted it as that, as a Huawei Y62019. Kindly mute if you can. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I interpreted his laugh as a sign of recognition of what he had read. And that, of course, you know, I mean, I'm enthused by that. And I'm very, you know, extremely happy then, you know, that someone could have that response to a poem. Of course, I don't know Harry's age, but, you know, I don't think we might be some distance, I don't know, in years, or we might be around the same age, I don't know. But he's going to dance, and then he's going to come back. Wait, just now. Nicholas, you need to read now, do you? No, Harry will read and then you. Is that right?
I don't know if you still required me.
I left you out at number 3. Oh gosh, all right. It's all right if you go after Harry?
Yeah, that's all right.
Great, right. So Harry's here. Right, so Harry is a member of Poetry and Prose. He loves to write and read about the past, especially the poems of his youth. Today, he reminisces with the poem Indefinite Article. Harry Seeley.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Harry.
You hear me, right? An indefinite article. I am a thing without a hat, barefoot on share ground, shaking hands and soul with the soul of the earth, dressed in green, sky blue. A jazz saxophone on his cheeks as he solos to a night with sassy smoke whispering in her hair and eyes. Not for passion plain, the air echoing parts of speech, nauseating a common man on a dance floor. An indefinite article by Gussie.
Thank you, Harry. You were a bit muffled there, and I know that we would have tried our best to hear you. Yeah, you did tell me about internet problems. I know we would have tried our best to hear you. So don't worry, you will be reading one more after Nicholas. All right, yeah, Nicholas, my apologies. Really, you know, in the moment, things happen like that. So let me introduce Nicholas Sosa, who has been my chairman of the board and my president at an earlier stage of my stay in the Circle of Poets of Trinidad and Tobago. And he has been, very consistent, hardworking, dedicated, I would say too. That turns up all the time in conversation, dedicated towards poetry writing, poetry itself. I think currently he has been working together with his team on the board, with his president, and also with the poet laureate of Trinidad and Tobago, Paul Keynes Douglas. So with that activity happening, we can only feel assured that poetry and writing by extension is in good hands. And we wish them continued success. Nicholas Sosa is going to do ADIST, or ADISTO, which I think is an acronym for is something, I can't even remember, it's something in some story, something. Nicholas will remind us of the title of the poem that he has chosen to read. He had short notice, which is to say that he only today was asked and responded, and he's now about to read the poem. Thank you very much, Nicholas.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so this is a poem by Cassie. The title I have here is A Different Story, or ADISTO, ADISTO. Close the door. Open the temple unhinged mind. From cliched world, unbeat moon streets talking. Survival footsteps ruffling. The pebbled path near her window. Fingers searching, frisking up a rug, up, down a rugged branch, across caressing sweetness, didn't hear a thing. A butterfly fluttered, or breathing in, longing, turning, winding, climbing, tumbling out, flushing, gushing, children, parents, my boy, those boys, cloud, moss in cosmos, reclimbing, what three is this? Heaving togetherness, tossing seed, letting it fall to temple ground. Open the door, a girl. Thank you.
Nicholas, I see as a business in reading there, Oh Lord, yeah. Well, there's a strange request I have to make, but could you send me that poem? Because I am with that poem and maybe since I wrote it. And wow.
Check your chat. I think I sent it already to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, well, I know you're that efficient, so I wouldn't even check. I know it's there, thanks. And I will have a read again. Well done. Wow. Nicholas, thanks for your presence here. I know you may have to run off to your other duties, Circle of Poets, and so on behalf of everybody here present, we say thanks to you very much for your great introduction, your beautiful portrayal of that ADISTO, and for your presence as head of poetry in Trinidad and Tobago. With my regards to the members who you will meet later on, and let them know that I wish them all well in their endeavors. Thank you.
Okay.
So we are going to return here now to Mr. Harry Seeley, who was asked, I don't know what the song is going to be like this time, but we'll make the same effort to hear it. If not, it's not a problem. We can make up for that. So Mr. Harry Seeley returns with a poem called Fire. Harry? Harry, could you unmute yourself and read for us? Fire, thanks.
You hear me now?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Not muffled like the first time.
Not as muffled as the first time.
Okay. Fire. Elephants race round and round the crowded room, stirring up twigs, igniting them. Why not burst through the floor, smash panes, stampede? Let the fire consume you, eat out your brain now. Your heart is in your hand, sizzling. A trainer with a hose, drizzling, a circus parading to hire him. Why you out? Why try to out yourself? You emerge from the flames, the fire unscathed. They can't make me out. They can't make you out. They can't make me out. The fire.
The fire. Okay, well, sorry, Harry?
No, I was saying fire in Creole and Patois. This mama, this
man. Your birth background is what?
Okay, I'm a Trinidadian, but I live in the Commonwealth of Dominica, where they speak Creole or Patois and English together.
Oh, okay, great, right. Because I see. Go ahead.
I was published in an anthology by the Trinidad and Tobago Writers Union under a lady called Liz Cromwell and A.M. Clark.
Right, yeah, I worked with Liz at one time, yeah, and wrote with her too.
They did a collection of Trinidad poems called Arising. That was the name of the anthology, Arising.
Yes, I'm aware of it, yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, that's where I started and that's where I get my foot wet. That's where I put my foot in the fire.
I see. Great. Liz Cromwell, yeah, that's a great ancestor you called there, man.
Remember that. And A.M. Clark, you know him too?
Of course, yes, I do. I didn't know him, well, he passed away, you know, like a few years after knowing him. And he was from Belmont, yeah, he's from Belmont, up in the Bella Road there. Another great ancestor's name you have mentioned there too. I'll call some others in a little while. We still have our readings to continue, and I'm checking the time. You're welcome, Harry. You're very, very welcome, Harry. Thank you. Right, so we had 1:35, and we're moving along briskly here. All right. I was going to just make an interlude just to do one of my poems, but I'm forsaking that. It's going beautiful without me. So at this point, I want to introduce, oh boy, I'm going to get into problems here. Arlene, I'm going to introduce Arlene Pena. Why don't I have what Arlene wants me to read here right now? That's a problem. All right, so anyway, Arlene is a US-based Trinidadian author, a terrific short writer, member of Poetry and Prose. She is currently working on a collection of short stories. Arlene is in Florida, and she is going to do the emceeing for the next 5 poems, right? So we have some time, and we're going to get it done here now. Arlene, thank you very much for accepting, and please proceed to introduce the next group of readers. Thanks.
Cassie, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for inviting me to participate in this event with you. It is an honor. The next reader is, her name is Gersha Mahabia. She's the founder of Poetry and Prose, poet and short story writer with a postgraduate degree in marketing and a greater love for writing and the arts. I want to take this opportunity to thank her for creating this wonderful space where I have also read my work and I felt very safe. And also the first time that I heard you read, Cassie, and was just blown away. She will be reading A Smile a Day.
Thank you. I must say, Cassie, hearing your work in succession is really, really nice today. I'm enjoying it. A Smile a Day. I wish I could see past Saturdays where I saw you seated, serene, next to the driver's seat. I struggle to remember your name. A smile cascading, flooding forgetfulness, unsticking muddled greetings. I was really glad for the cap. It hid my searching eyes during our rally in Woodford Square, where you sported a smile. I accepted dedication to duty and wish there were more Mondays in which we could work together forever, for life. Some get inspiration on Sundays only, as if people don't die on Wednesdays or marry early Thursday mornings or jog home from gym on Tuesdays in the dark, knowing there's a smile for every moment, every movement. I learned too, darlings. Darlings flash smiles out of their makeup kit. Stalkers walk them between forests of alibis. Magates invest them in goodbyes, flooding markets with forgetfulness, false bargaining for mirrored company on lonely nights. Smile. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful, wonderful poem, and you did it so well. Motilal Badoo Singh leads the South chapter of Poetry and Prose and has published 3 volumes of short stories and has been featured in several magazines. Motilal renders Tank of Fish.
Thank you for this opportunity, Cassie. Tank of fish. A fish in a tank cannot visit a beach, nor attend school with a wish. I must teach, nor travel on airplanes. The sky he can't reach. A fish in a tank is no priest, he don't preach. A hound on a leash is led places for walks, will protect dread master from 2-legged hawks. A fish slyly peeps through a glass as it gawks and bleeps at what curse might incur when one balks. Meow may meander, moreover she will, love chatting, backtracking, and feasting until, with one eye on Jack, she lies still on the sill, pretending it's okay. She never will kill dwarves, moles in the swim, or fat rat up the hill. How cool a fish star with no wish to be dished. How foolish we are sending kiss after kiss. To folks who love gold more than angels in bliss, and colorful rainbows with swords that slap swish. Rasboro, koi, guppies, bass, tetra, catfish. Thank you. I just want to make a little comment here. I could relate to this poem, for this COVID pandemic. I stay home like a fish in a tank, I can't travel to visit my grandchildren in London, and I'm afraid of even going to the temple. So I think that, this tank of fish really have us like fish in a tank. I like the analogies of the fish with the dogs and the cats. And Cassie paints a very vivid pictures. He captures their characteristics. And I also like the idea of the fish sending kiss after kiss. I have 2 tanks with fish, and you see them open them out. And I like this idea. I never thought of it as kiss, But Cassie, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mutilal. The next reader is Ariti Janki, currently based in the USA, never misses a poetry and prose program. Author of several books, including Hush, Don't Cry, The Footsteps of Rama, and Witty and Wise. This retired journalist who worked for many years with national newspapers, both in Trinidad and India, continues to thrill us with her work. Ariti is very knowledgeable in Indian culture. She reflects on hope.
Thank you, Aline. The first poem I'm going to, I actually have two poems to read. The first one is Peacock Appearance. It is dated March 12, 2020. Peacock Appearance. Our father and mother often collide like dark rolling clouds. Our father and mother often collide like dark rolling clouds. They rain short shirts and skirts upon us, wildflowers. They then shower kisses on our bean heads. They are peacock proud parents when they run us through the village.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
No, I'm sorry. I had a problem. So let me just continue reading, please. Yeah, I'm having a problem. Yes. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'll go back over it. The first poem is called Peacock Parents. It says, our father and mother often collide like dark rolling clouds. They rain short shirts and skirts upon us, wildflowers. Then shower crisp kisses on our bean heads. They are peacock proud parents when they run us through the village. They are peacock proud parents when they run us through the village. At home, they double team like melting ice and falling snow. At home, they double team like melting ice and falling snow, demanding that we paint the grass green and tractor the meadow. Whenever we stitch laces to ribbons, they award us with cheesy apples and vanilla pies. We dare not say yuck, lest they bench us with a teenage book held between our teeny hands. Real children fall from the sky. Real children fall from the sky, they point out. The cream of the crop lives in the neighboring valley, eats strudel dipped in chocolate at breakfast, plays hoop on the prairie, and sits on rigs at dusk. Their voices raise over an imagined town, their brown shadows dwarfing our confusion. Their voices rise over an imagined town, their brown shadows dwarfing our confusion. That's the first one. And the second one is dated February 26, 2020, and it's titled Hope. We lived harmoniously for 30 years. Me and the lissom, one who attracted many. In tranquility, serenity, we sat down and cradled ideas that danced in our heads like twirly and twisty. We visualized prosperity, allowing lush green pastures to disguise our fears. We were delighted. All could see we were in our glee, guarding against euphoria behind closed doors. We flourished, wore gold, silver, and opal jewelry. She gave birth, there was mirth, and hope became ours. At her baptism, we dressed in iridescent colors, a rainbow family. So eloquent the preacher became hope's teacher. An epiphany raised my pause. We were flowing with the fun, basking in the sun, enjoying weather's warmth on the sunshine. When between the blossoms appeared a dandy toting a gun, a light switched on in my head. I jumped up to protect what's mine and shouted, "We are one." And with that, he began to run. The blooming dope herd wore on, disappeared, and all was fine. A gentle summer breeze wafted melodies, gave us more hope. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My God, what wonderful poems. Thank you. Thank you very much. Leslie Ann Beckles is a volunteer reader at Virtual Storytime who sometimes share her own work. A great teller of stories and a writer who always provokes with her commentary. Leslie Ann reads Training Ground.
Training ground. Because I am training not to kill, instead of splatting cockroaches with my slippers, I simply spray and step away. Should any turn up dead, I blame them for not having the good sense to avoid a toxic environment. Because I am training to be non-judgmental, it is difficult to thumb through articles in which characterizations are made of officials who appear to be of sound mind and who are doing their damnness. Because I am training to appreciate that old age, sickness, and death are inevitable, I prefer to spend my time preparing and helping others where convenient, rather than analyzing family connections and hiring practices of said authorities. Because I really and truly wish to be happy and to be free from suffering, it is best that I wish the same and practice the same with others regardless. Because I like to sip song, I try. It's not easy to not take too much to bed by the way of worry, especially of the things I cannot change, and excessive thoughts to which, as you can see, I am prone. Because I did not read the CNN article, I can only suppose that it opposes that the TNN addressed, which I read. So therefore, there is nothing to be overly concerned about because opposites attract. Because I like Gary Griffith sometimes, and I don't like our Commissioner of Police at other times, it is incumbent upon me to ask, am I alone in this? Because as a loner, I can claim KNNN as my true Caribbean News Now network feed. Then I would gladly interview a Taliban, one with a gun, and ask him or her to please keep more of your word than less. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Cassie?
Well, well, well. Let me just thank all of those readers. Loved your smile at the end there, Leslie Ann. And you know, you dramatized it with your voice and body language very well. Congratulations on that. Great stuff. Mutilal, you interjected well and gave us that homely feel with the fish in the tank and the reference to the pandemic and where we are of a similar kind, sort of similar situation. RT, great stuff doing that double there about the peacock parents, as well as giving us some hope. At the top, and Arlene introduced Gersha. And I just want to say that when we discussed it, the poem that is, Gersha asked me what is it about? I fumbled. And well, I found out today what it is about through Gersha. Thank you very much, Gersha. Thank you very much, Arlene. Wonderful job introducing that segment of readers. And to all who read on my behalf, read my poems, thank you very much. So without further ado, we move into a little segment here where I say a few words about my writing and poetry, my writing and publishing experience, right? Right. So it's going to be, I have tried to say some things in between there, but it has been, you know, it's going to be a formalized thing in a manner of speaking. That I don't mean formal in formal. It's going to be a talk, you know? And what it says is that I would like nothing, I have some stuff written, so I'm going to follow that. And I'm going to try to keep within about 8 minutes or so. I would like nothing better than to leave those who know of my experiences to share them with you, rather than have to sound, as it were, blow my own horn. For me, my poems already speak to and describe the journey of writing and publishing. And in detail, I think I ought to be on camera somewhere. But anyway, all right. I'll try to get that. Is that possible here? Yeah, it's possible here. Okay, good. So what I'm really saying, my topic is writing and publishing journey, my journey, writing and publishing. So it's all one to me, as it's also connected to just, you know, the life that has been, continues to be. But I'd rather other people talk about it. And those other people are my ancestors. And I'm going to fade away a little bit, but I'll still be talking to you. Those are my ancestors. And one of them, one of my greatest ancestors in the realm of writing is a man by the name of Anson Gonzalez. I can't say much about him, but in brief, and I say I can't say, you know, because of time. In brief, Anson has been my mentor from early days in the Writers Union. I knew him when I started to work at the Ministry of Education. He was working in the printry. Anson ended up doing Fire's Voice. Sorry, what am I saying? Being the publisher of New Voices. Is the voice that got me there. So if you are seeing the book, New Voices, right? That is the name of Anson Gonzalez's publication. He's a foremost local poet, for those of you who don't know. And one of his major books, which is in the library, is called Artifacts of Presence. Presence, Artifacts of Presence. Anson Gonzalez, Chuck Nicholas, or Writers Union, they ought to have, you know, knowledge of where you get them if you want to buy them, and the case might be. Right? Right. Buy a copy, sorry, of Artifacts of Presence. So Anson is one of my greatest ancestors. And he published this book that you were just looking at. It's called Poems I'm Afraid to Say. And in it, Anson says, with his preface, Kasi Senghor is an activist and poet from the era of the 1970s. It's amazing that this is his first collection of poems. This is in 2007 that Anson is publishing this, September 6, 2007. It is amazing that this is his first collection of poems. The truth is that he had passed his manuscript to me when I was going through some personal issues myself. I typed the poems, but couldn't find the originals to return to him. He accepted the copy I had typed, and I was to return the originals to him whenever I found them. Years passed, and the manuscript remained lost in earth space or cyberspace. Experiencing another episode later in the midst of considerations of migration and passing my books and papers over to Nallis, I came upon the manuscript in an overlooked file. I have been trying to connect with Senghor since. Then one night recently, I saw him performing on a Gayal TV open mic program. Here was this veteran activist and poet jostling with tyros. I felt strongly that his first book must hit the stands as soon as possible. And here it is. Anson Gonzalez, September 6th. And I responded to his preface with my own preface. And I said, no need to judge this work. Anson Gonzalez resurrected it. Poems, I'm afraid to say, as the title of the book. Poems, I'm afraid to say, a duty I must have shirked, dressing them unfit to see the light of day. All praise to the publisher. The events that brought us together, this work and I, all poems belong to you when they are written. And it's even more true for a poet once bitten. At midnight or daylight, we set our sight on what to write, painful or pleasurable, just delightful. Thanks to you, Anson, for making this possible. The fellow writers of many years who met to discuss, critique, analyze, and praise one another's work, I say, your comments are well received. To all audiences, present, past, and future will like be now, boy, wow. I say thanks for listening. Right, I have a little more to add to that as we proceed along. So here was my first publisher, and you heard what he said about the writing, and this is how I would love to have it. But of course, today I have to say, sort of like speak for myself too. Having called upon Anson, some other names were mentioned earlier, if you remember, A.M. Clark, Liz Cromwell, among other ancestors, is the founder of the Writers Union herself, Dr. Umawale Maxwell, founder. In those days, there was also Paul Keynes, I think, was there, Ian too was there. And then I had, like fellow writers, who today are quote unquote prominent persons in the communities and societies in which they live. We have Dr. Sain Mande from, he's in Writers Union. He's now a professor, teaches history in Atlanta out there. Poet, we were together. Chet Swayo Morai, I can't forget him. Chet was something else because Chet wrote and performed, and he had a group. He formed a group of which I was a part, and it is called Tamira. I say it is called, Chet has since passed, of course. I say it is called because he has left a great legacy. Even one of his ladies, one of his women, one of his wives carries that name today, Tamira. And it's not, we performed in various halls. Queen's Hall was one of them, City Hall, we taught to Grenada as a group during the height of the Grenadian Revolution. We performed there, and Chet was great. I have a poem to him in my at this point it could be my latest book. I always thought it might have been my last, but Fire's Voice. I have a poem to Chet in Fire's Voice. This is the point I'm making. And as for other great ancestors alongside, there's Abdul Malik. I've coined from him a particular word. That's one word out of the many that he would have voiced. That is Africandia. Africandia. I don't remember the line in which it occurs, but he was always a stirring poet, one that we other poets, budding sort of, in the background kind of thing, looked up to at the time. And he's out there in England right now, living in England there, I believe, still writing and stuff. Of course, I can't call all those ancestors of mine. If you look in the artifacts of present, I think Anson has about 2 pages, if not more, just with names alone, nothing in between. Names of poets, local, mainly, men and women who have gone along the word path, so to speak. So yeah, so that's the thing with my how I go with ancestors, men and mentors, and so on. So he published with his own press, mind you. He had a machine. He lived in Diamond Vale, Big Martin there, Anson that is, and he published the book. I think it was sold it at $25 or something. Anyway, right. September 14th. Sorry, in 2014, 7 years later, so to speak. Yeah, I published, what is that? Actually, I published It's Like This. And that was because I was on a site called All Poetry. I still am, but you know, in 2 tranches. So on All Poetry, when I started there, a lady said, hey man, you know, you should be to this site. I did. I started to write, and I was writing like 2, 3, 4, 5 poems a day. Why? Because the amount of contests on All Poetry, and I was now exposing myself to those topics that they posed for contests, because I'd been limited in my writing. I was writing, you know, mostly about myself and others in terms of our Africanness, our Black consciousness, that kind of thing. And here it was on All Poetry. The majority of poets, they are not of, you know, they are white people, you know, so to speak. And I was there writing. I started to write among them, as it were. And you know, you would have heard reference like what RT read just now there about peacock parents and so on. So I was writing in one of their contests, and you'd see references to the, you know, different stuff then that really is not within our culture there. But you know, I do that then, let's say, you know, because when I'm writing out there, that's them. Even in Gersha's poem, you know, I have. She changed it. I think I have Times Square, and she changed it. Well, not she changed it, but it's she did the more relevant thing, which we talked about it, and called it Woodford Square. So that is how I was writing plenty every day, poem after poem, and I had to do it quickly, because if I didn't, I may not get into the contest. There were other people entering, you know, other hundreds of poets, and you choose, and if you didn't do it in time, you're out. I wanted to be in. So I was writing, and I eventually, 2 years about after writing in that thing, I decided, look, publish, and well, that happened. Can't go into all of that, but I published with a group called Ex Libris out in America, somewhere. Not so sure right now what part of. Anyway, Ex Libris, and you know, it was a good connection with the person who was in charge of doing the work for me. Mckenzie is the artist I featured on the cover of that book. And Mckenzie, a brother of mine from the NJAP times and that kind of thing. You know, he's an artist in his own right, of course. Has done stuff, you know, mounted his work in galleries and exhibited in many a place outside of Trinidad also. Has a studio in Barataria called Studio 66. So this is this work here, one of his pieces. And that was my second publication. I gave you an idea of what I was, well, some idea of what I was writing, who I was writing among, and the fact that I was attracted to new topics and to write things to write about, you know, and I volunteered myself to do all of that. I still love, I will love form poetry. I love form poetry. The latest book, Fire's Voice, I, you know, published that about 2 years later. I had an offer from Ex Libris, which I had been delaying on 2 years. You have something like 2 years, you can publish 2 for 1.5 the price or something like that. Whatever it was, there was an opportunity for me to publish another book. But people had sort of like slighted It's Like This because it didn't represent the Cassie they knew. They figured that here, you know, and Jack Black Power, you know, my poems would, well, not, if not all, a lot of them would be along those lines. But I again, I transited in a sense, you know, no big, daring challenge and stuff, just transited on the way. And there I was. But I say, okay, let me do something and, you know, see how it will work out. And I just sort of like gathered up some poems, as it were, included some new ones. And I mean, there were 18 in that last, there are 18 poems in that last one. It's still a high number, which means that I'm just writing. I'm not, you know, I wouldn't consider myself, you know, a big writer or, you know, this kind. But I certainly was producing. I was also touring. I was also speaking in schools. I was judging. I was editing. You know, doing all the things that we all do as writers and poets in our societies. So I was, you know, spoke to children in the schools. You know, went up to somewhere. Let's call it in the country then. You know, country schools. You know. And spoke to children there, and did workshops. Yeah, I did workshops with adults also, and that sort of thing. My last book, Fire's Voice. Here we are, and right, I think I'd leave that there for now. Right, my publishing writing experience. I just want to make some dedications, as I did in my books. My first book, Poems I'm Afraid to Say, is dedicated to my daughter, deceased. Her name is Kisembe Ruka Springer. And my first book was dedicated to her. My second book was dedicated to my wife, Denise Senghor, and all the Senghors at the time. And my last book was dedicated to those who struggle, who died in the struggle. This has since morphed into not just struggle for freedom in terms of, you know, Black people, African people wanting to rise up and be free, but it has grown then into a spiritual freedom then, just, you know, to get down to brass tacks, into a spiritual freedom for all, you know, with full knowledge, you know, that, you know, you're who you are. That my last book is dedicated to those who died in the struggle and those who are continue to struggle today, like we ourselves. So that's I'll leave that there because we have to, we are, you know, we have to keep on our timing. I don't know if I'm over or if I'm under or what, but I want to reintroduce Arlene, who is now going to read because we are about to write, and we're going to write to a prompt, which after Arlene reads, Gersha is going to put on the screen, and I'll just try to talk as little as possible for everyone here present to get pen and paper to write. Don't get the pen and paper yet because Arlene is coming to read, and she's going to read Toss the Prompt. Toss me a prompt. Sorry, Arlene.
Thank you, Cassie. Toss me a prompt. White sheets, blank screens vibrate with color when eyes greet them, like spades unearthing buried treasure to reveal the value of word to the world. Toss me a prompt. Let me adorn it with immortality. I'll be late tonight because I'm committed to an ending, though lines may write themselves.
Arlene, I can't imagine myself saying that, but here it is, hearing it. And yeah, Arlene, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I think it keeps running away. I'm saying. Anyway, Arlene, blessings for that. And we go into the prompt, which is up on your screen at the moment. And if you already have your pen and paper, we are going to be writing an acrostic poem. What is an acrostic poem? It's a poem that contributes to the word that you are going to spell out in a, what is that way, in a perpendicular way, right? Up, up, down. So our prompt today is Christmas, 9 letters, which you are going to use, each of the letters you're going to use to start a line. That is for poets. And well, for those who wish to write it in poetry form. And for those who want to write in prose form, you simply write about Christmas, whatever you wish to, you know, whatever mood you are in about Christmas, you simply write about that. So there's an example on the screen, which is C-A-K-E. That's, and you can see those letters that spell the word cake coming down the left-hand side, right? It's capital C, capital A, capital K, capital E. I think everybody is seeing that very clearly. Thanks to Gersha for the artistic creation of this, what you are looking at here. And this is my example of an acrostic for you today. Creamy, black nutted, alcohol saturated ecstasy, kept under lock and key, expected to mature for Christmas this year. So each letter in the word cake, so it's a 4-line poem, C-A-K-E, and that's what I've done with it. And that now becomes an acrostic poem. As I said, I love form poetry. Well, what is this called? Yeah, let's call it poetry of form poetry. We'll call it that for today. All right. Certain structure, and that's what it is. So I tried it out with the prompt myself, today's prompt, Christmas, which I know some of you have already begun doing. I tried it out and I saw that 10 minutes was adequate. And I have 36 words here, but you could go over that if you want. There's no problem. You'll be sharing your work after 10 minutes from now. Thank you. Right. There are about 3 more minutes before you end. One of the things that I wanted to add, it's not too late, that your poems will end with 2 words. So you only have 34, well, you have 2 words less to write. And those 2 words are this year. I should have said that earlier, it would have helped me, may have helped to color what you were about to write, what you were writing. If it can't be included, don't worry. Right? But I wanted to include this year. The prose people begin their thing with this year, and those who are writing poems end with this year. But if it's too late, well, so be it. So we got 2 more minutes. Okay, great. Yeah. We can pull down the screen. Thank you. Right. Let me just do this, do that. And we begin our sharing. We begin to share. I'm on my great. So this is where you what do you do? Artie, your hand has been raised from ever since. If you could just pull it down. I don't think, unless you, oh, mine is also, wow. So I'm going to pull mine down, and maybe you can pull yours down. Please ask the host to give you permission to record. Who would that be? Reactions. Go on. Okay. I'm not so sure.
I can go if you like.
Oh, yeah, sure, certainly. Just that I have this message here, which is a bit confusing. Please ask the host to give you permission to record. I'm closing that. Was volunteered just?
Yeah, it's me, RT.
Ah, RT. Ah, great, RT, yes. Sure.
Okay, so I'm not sure that I'm very good at this, but okay, I wrote something.
Poem?
Yeah, well, no, let me just read what I have written.
Okay.
A city of lights, home away from home, reminiscing in the glory days of yesterday, still fresh in the mind, to make me believe memories are a better place to be, safe and secured, for sure this year. I hope I have done it, you know, in the way it's supposed to be done. Cassie, over to you.
Oh, I forgot to unmute again. Sorry. Yes, I said yes, RT. We welcome all. We welcome all, and we thank you for that. Next. Anyone can, don't rush. If anyone can come up.
Okay, let me just share my effort. Cherry brandy and rum, the soak the fruit, almonds and raisins and cherries to boot, kept in a big jar, hidden whole year, evolving into black cake and Christmas cheer for all to enjoy in this year. Thank you.
Okay, right. So you use CAKE?
Yep.
All right, then. Okay. All right. Thank you, Moti. Well,
What
next.
is it? It's not Christmas?
Yes, it's Christmas, but that's okay, Harry.
Okay.
He did the best. He did the best he could, yeah. Let's hear you. Harry? Yeah, yes. Silly, yes.
Okay, yeah, right. I say crisscrossing, homeward bound, riding the waves, indigenousness and focus, steadfastly sailing, teasing unexpectedly, more of the same season of hope. Arise, sing, Noel, Noel this year.
Okay, next. Thank you, Harry. Right, I saw you across it coming down the road there, yeah. CHRISTMAS. Next.
I think, all right.
Yes, remember to mute when you're finished. Thanks. Next.
Can I go next? Can I go next?
Yes,
Yeah.
Aisha.
Okay. Celebration rituals are blessed, having a sense of connection, rising from ancient traditions. In case you didn't know, Santa is a myth. Trees are more than December the 25th. Many do not appreciate all celebrations are equal. Sanctuary and family are central to all.
Well done there, Aisha. I got it.
Thank you. Okay.
I got it.
You got it.
Yeah. When Christmas comes, I'm fugitive. Up chimney. When Santa comes. Maybe I could read that in the meantime, but I don't want to disturb anybody's efforts. So we have Akila, Senghor, we have Randy. Karim, you have been here with us for quite a while. What did you write? Let's hear you. Karim, Mariella is still with us. Everybody is still with us. Richard Sutton is still with us. Hey, Richie, you could render something. Karim is coming up. Thanks. Yeah, Karim. Karim? Yeah. I thought I saw movement there. Arlene, I saw you writing, so I know you have some stuff. Go ahead.
Well, just very little. I sort of this year, this Christmas, I lock the door like I can keep life out. No matter how much time passes, the hurt remains. I see her hand brush against my side as I stand in the kitchen, looking at my sister cook. I can hear her saying, "Watch the bubbling brown sugar, turn down the heat." Her patience with a child that hid when she brought out the recipe books. I don't feel like cooking for no man. Why should I have to? Christmas music, humming. I know she's gone, but it's 3 years now, and the hurt remains. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you very much there, Arlene. Good, great piece of prose. Arlene is an author. Let us remind ourselves. Published author. See just like Aisha before her. Published author, published poet. So don't feel that you have to write to any particular great standard. Just be free. Write yourself. It's Christmas. So I hope that there are others who have written, and Anne King is here. Anne King is one of my among my oldest friends. When I started to work, Anne worked in the same ministry as I. She's a great poet herself. She's on our poetry and always winning gold and stuff. Andrea Joseph is going to read. Is that right?
Yes, I have here. Come here.
Hello?
Come. Yes, this is the young Joseph.
Oh, right. Michael and his
Yeah,
wife
Cassie.
Andrea. Right.
Yeah, it was using her laptop.
Right.
So this is Michaela Joseph. That's the second daughter. So she has a little something here she wants to read for you all.
Right.
Start.
Cake for Christmas makes me anxious for the day to come when I celebrate kindness of all around me. And I believe that this feeling should last for eternity.
Right. Get it?
Right.
Yeah. It was done on the spot.
So that is the idea. Thank you
Right.
very much, Michaela.
Thank you.
Well, you know, when last I saw you, you were a tiny tot. And though I'm not seeing you in the full, I can see that you have grown tremendously. Daddy is doing, and Mommy are doing well with you. Yeah, up to last night, Daddy and I limed, as we have been doing for years before you were born. And we had a good time, and it's great to see you here today reading for us. Great, let's give another round of applause for our young one. Know that the writing and so on is in good hands. Thanks, Michaela. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next. Well, everybody should be rushing now. Akila, Kareem, Anne. Michael, just like Anne, Michael is among friends from Michael. Friendship stems from around 1975, 76. Anne is 10 years earlier than that. 1966. So if you could hear from anybody. Randy, Heather, what about Heather? Miss Ferguson, Heather Ferguson. They all didn't write? Okay, I'm going to read mine.
Yeah, I'll go after you, Cassie.
Oh, no, man. I want to hear others.
Okay, I did the Christmas one.
Right.
Christmas caroling this year from house to house. Rousing renditions, inspirational, inspiring. Songs of celebration, tried and true, creating memories for all time. Amazing melodies rising, soothing sounds in the silent night this year.
Well, I tell you. I hope everyone else is clapping, everyone else listening and sharing. Yeah.
I love that
Betty.
exercise, Cassie. That was a nice exercise.
Thank you very much.
Hi, is anyone hearing me?
Yes, we are hearing Ricardo.
Right, can I go next? Quick?
Yes, you should.
Sure, okay, thanks. Charming gifts towards histrionic yelling children, ridiculous feeling of entitlement, insipid mindset firing towards each other, serene drizzling weather, tortured in-laws, massive egos inflate, and a tenuous chef boiling sorrel to settle stomachs.
Ricardo, I'm laughing, yes?
Yeah, I'm laughing too. That was good.
Ricardo, yeah, your style, you're a boss.
Yeah,
you're a boss. Yeah, man. Well done. The thing with poetry, we all know, at a first hearing, we don't always get it. And of course, we don't get everything. And we shouldn't even be trying, because it does more than that, I mean, if we see it on a written page, we can go back and forth with it, with them, with poems. But when we are here listening to them, it takes a different turn, as it were. It enters us in a different way. So I keep seeing movement by Karim. I don't know if I'm imagining that or what, but who will go next? There's still time. We have about 15 minutes. And yeah, we have time. We have plenty of time. Anybody has a poem that they would like to read in the meantime, other than the prompt one? This is open mic time, I think it is. Gersha has gone off. She has some workmen at her home, and so she has left. I expect that means that I take things right down to its beautiful end. But we're not there yet, and I'm hoping still to hear from Cirilla. You're online, and you are good at this. So could you, and you may even want to do, what is it called, like in Calypso, an extempo. You might, yeah, I know you're a lady like that. You could do that. Betty, what about you? I want to hear these four. Anne, I pleaded. Akila. Akila is my daughter. She's here on the platform, and just so happens that we share the same birth date. And it's coming up in a short. Right, someone is coming. Somebody has left. Okay. Still 22 of us here, and we Muti, you want to, no, Muti read already. Didn't read. Cirilla. Are you there, Cirilla? Betty? Karim? Okay, so I'm going to read mine. Who's there? Karim?
Yes.
Hey, right, man.
How are you doing? I was having some audio problems before.
Man, you're welcome. Like, I don't know. What rhymes with welcome? Welcome. Please read. Thanks.
Okay, I have a personal poem since it's the open mic. It still needs some work, but I'd like to debut it here.
Sure.
It's called the Pubu Senryu. Pubu is a sound, not a word. Not a noun, but a verb. It is how I can tell a friend from foe. Your Pubu is how I know. To hear me is to know me. You must Pubu. So if you Pubu me, I will Pubu you. Pubu. Thank you.
Hey. Well done, Karim. We waited a while.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, we waited a while, and you know, it came up to the plate, man. Did it?
Cassie, can I add that poem reminds me of when my parents were growing up in Freeport, and there were no street lights, and it was pitch black at night. They would, each person would have a special whistle so that the other people in the street would know who they were.
Okay.
So that poem really reminds me of that little story that my parents told me.
Yes. Wow. Look at that. A great connection, yeah. Yeah, this is how it works sometimes. We wait on others. Karim came up. Brandy, Cirilla, Richie, Betty. I think Michael went offline with Michaela, so yeah, that's good. I was
still here listening, Cassie. Still here listening.
Oh gosh, I've seen the Andrea Joseph and wondering. Sorry, Mike. Yeah, somebody is coming. No, Harry? No, not Harry. Is it? No. Mutilala shifted. I don't feel like I want to read mine again. It's not so hot. You want to read another one, Heather? Or Mariella? Anyone?
I don't really have something that's short.
Okay, you want to read a piece of what is long?
Yeah, well,
I mean,
I have a little story that from Penal about a beggar named 8 cents. Motila would know this story, I'm sure.
And others would love to hear it, yeah. But give us a little piece, a little piece.
All right. Well, you could stop me along the way.
Okay.
8 cents was a beggar in the village of Penal where I grew up in the 1950s. He attached himself to Grandpa's shop across the main road from my Auntie Margaret's house. Here he begged for the usual 8 cents from every person he met. That was the cost of a shot of rum in those days, and thanks to the generosity of strangers, 8 cents made enough money in a day to keep him in a state of bliss for most of his life. No one ever knew his real name, but given the Trinidadian penchant for both nicknames and irony, the moniker 8 cents came to be the title with which he was known by. Grandpa's shop was the equivalent of today's all-purpose convenient corner store. Its fare consisted of everything from squares of blue soap for washing bodies and clothes to staples such as local produce, blocks of ice, tins of salted butter, Brunswick sardines, coarse flour, brown sugar, Crick's crackers, coffee and tea, and matches, rope, nails, screws, grass knife, and cutlass, plus a myriad of household necessities needed by local inhabitants who did not want to venture south to the shops in Penal Junction or north to those in San Fernando. Part of the shop was sectioned off by swinging half doors as a kind of a bar with stools at the counter. Here they served bottled spirits like brandy, wine, rum, and hard liquor, as well as shots of rum, 8 cents a glass. At any given hour of the day, men could be found at the bar partaking of drink, becoming increasingly raucous as the day advanced into evening, when the shop would close for the day, after which they would stagger home to beat their long-suffering wives, who could be heard to weakly complain to whoever would listen, "But girl, he bad, eh?" Auntie Margaret's husband, Sonny Boy, often joined these men, but only when his wife was at work, as she otherwise kept a tight hold on his extracurricular activities. "She have him well tie up like market crab," was a refrain from these men when Sonny Boy was out of earshot. This was the milieu in which 8 cents thrived. Whenever 8 cents approached Auntie Margaret for money, she, being a bit stingy in parting with her hard-earned cash, and of a Christian bent due to her upbringing, would try and make 8 cents actually earn his handout. She would get him to do odd jobs around her yard, such as tending her flower beds, cutting the lawn, picking mangoes and coconuts, and so on, especially as her husband, Sonny Boy, was not inclined to do these routine jobs in the property. 8 cents at first stepped up to this challenge admirably, but he eventually lapsed. He set the precedent of asking for the required money up front, which Auntie Margaret had inadvisably agreed to. But as time went on, he made a beeline for the rum shop first, leaving the jobs undone and becoming unable to do them at all due to his drunken state. Very often, Auntie Margaret would come home at 3 o'clock from school, where she was a teacher, to find 8 cents fast asleep in the cool shaded space under the front step of a house, with a look of pure peace on his face. She would say, "Leave him there to sleep it off. It's better so than to have him walking in the road where he could get bounced down." As 8 cents could often be seen staggering in the middle of the road with taxi drivers gesticulating wildly and shouting, "Get your tail out of the road, man. What happened? Like you're tired living or what?" As time went on, Auntie Margaret duly realized she had been tricked. She would then, from that day on, offer the promised money only after jobs had been completed, causing a colorful flow of biting invectives from 8 cents, who felt she had unfairly reneged on their original agreement. Auntie Margaret House was a large wooden structure with an L-shaped front gallery. It had a deep eaved roof over it to shade it from the tropical sun. Here she kept large red clay flower pots with verdant palms waving in the slight breeze which blew in from the road. One Saturday, as she was watering the plants, she spotted a small snake tucked comfortably inside one of the pots. She was unnerved to think that it crawled up the long front step in the night to find its way in the house. Scared to remove it herself, she called her visiting niece, Jacqueline, and not telling her about the snake, she told her to pick up the pot and take it in the yard, hoping to tip it over and release the snake back in the long grass. Jacqueline picked up the pot and spotted the snake at once. She screamed and dropped the pot, breaking it. The snake, no doubt scared itself, sped into the house through the living room doors that were left open and disappeared into the kitchen. Looking about, Auntie Margaret saw it on the stove. At once she panicked, realizing how difficult it would be to remove it. Her big fear was that it would go into one of the bedrooms and find a spot that was inaccessible in which to hide. She could not stand the thought of sleeping with a snake in her room. Right away, she summoned 8 Cents. That was just the job for him. 8 Cents was easy to find. He was at his usual spot in the rum shop, propping up the counter, liming and shooting the breeze with the men. As soon as he knew Auntie Margaret was looking for him, he came running. He knew she would at least be good for the next drink. She told him to try and capture the snake that was under the stove. He opened up a bargaining session at once, realizing his advantage lay in the fact she was scared of snakes. Before he lifted a finger to help, he upped the price to 10 cents for danger pay, even though the snake was a young, relatively harmless horsewhip. Caught in a corner, she agreed to pay the 10 cents, although she reiterated that he would only get it after he had caught the snake. 8 Cents got a long switch, fished out the snake from under the stove, much to everyone's relief. He held it up triumphantly by the tip of his tail and flung it over the banister to the lawn below. Mission accomplished. Auntie Margaret gratefully forked over the agreed-to fee of 10 cents and watched as 8 Cents dodged traffic to cross back the road to Grandpa's rum shop. Here he boasted to the men of his chivalry in rescuing teacher Margaret from a big snake and how she offered him plenty money to rid her house of a dangerous and vicious creature, and how he was so brave and not one bit frightened. The men all cheered and clapped loudly as 8 Cents plunked down his hard-earned 10 cents and ordered a double shot from Grandpa. The men present made the round to collect up the remaining 6 cents to make up the cost of the double shot. Fire away, man, they shouted as 8 Cents downed his rum in one go, breathed deeply, and exclaimed a satisfied ah at the profitable day's work and a job well done.
Thank you very much. Well done. Yeah. From Motilal, I remember Sonny Boy, Margaret, and 8 Cents. Motilal remember. Motilal knows those characters.
Yes.
All right. So, last night, sorry, somebody?
Good afternoon. I have a very short acoustic, very short, maybe half of what you had asked for. All right.
Sure,
so
Betty, thank you.
Candlelight usually heralds romance. Instead, I get silence, troubling, mood changes, and I drift away sadly, songlessly this year again.
Betty, you're making joke, man. What is that half of? I don't know. As you give us the full words.
Well, you had asked for 36 words, and I think you got about half of the 36.
Well, that's even better. If you could have brought that down even less and achieve that sort of imagery and emotion, which you are going to repeat because I'm going to ask you to read it again.
Gosh,
yes, of course. I mean, that deserves another reading, man. Let's hear it, Betty.
Candlelight usually heralds.
Just 1 second.
Okay.
Let's all listen. So if there's anyone need to mute other than Betty, please do so. Let's all listen because it's an acrostic. Okay, it's an acrostic. So while listening to, you're looking out for your C, your H, your R, your I, your S, C, M, S, and you'll notice the juxtaposition, I think we call it in poetry, where lines are running into each other. So you're almost not even making out that Oh, this word starts with I. Oh, she's now gone, reached to the M in Christmas, right? Now, you may not be able to achieve all of that in the listening. That's why I'm asking her to reread it. But it's there. But it's there. And she having done that with about 18 words, let's say, 18 to 20 words, I think that's fantastic. You know, that's just me, you know, as a lover of brevity in particular. I really applaud that. So Betty, let's hear it again.
Okay. Candlelight usually heralds romance. Instead, I get silence. Troubling. Mood changes, and I drift away sadly, soundlessly. This year, again.
Right, Ria. Thank you very much, Betty. Well done.
Thank you.
Who will read next? Oh, I am going to invite a reader. Yes, I'm going to invite a reader. And this reader is Dr. Aisha Mckenzie Mavinger. And I am going to ask her to read Invisible for us. Before she reads, let me just say I was in Tobago, where Dr. Aisha lives. I was there recently, and I attended a women's, Tobago Women's Writers group. And I was invited. I sat with 4 women. If I remember correctly, there was a Dr. Caroline, there was Aisha's sister, and there was another sister called Joanne. All mature women, all writers in their own rights, so to speak. And we, you know, our session was like 3 hours in which we wrote from a prompt, we critiqued, we had lunch, you know, while still talking shop, as it were. And we read what we had brought with us, and then we critiqued that too. And then we said, bye-bye. Very nice, neat, professional, well done. We had the ambience of the lonely beach, because no one can go on the beach in Tobago, just as in Trinidad. So we had that ambience of the ocean making its own roars and whatever else, bubbles and stuff. And it was a pleasure for me, again, let me say to Aisha, it was a pleasure for me being there. Aisha reads Invisible.
Thank you, Cassie. Yeah, I just want to say this poem was created whilst I was in the position of a lecturer at a central London university. And I had the experience of being the only person of color in my team of staff. But I noticed that the white staff would come for something from our team, and they would stretch across my desk to talk to a white person instead of talking to me. And so I put my rage into a poem, and the poem is called Invisible. They talk over my head, they lean across my desk, they stand beside me, they ask someone else. They ignore my request, they take it off the agenda. They try to convince me, they say it's my problem. They arrive after me, they stand in front, they queue behind me, they get served first. They turn their backs, they want to shake hands. They gave children guns, they stole my lands. They wounded my heart, they tortured my body. They blinded my heritage, they made the trail bloody. They show their tears, they want compassion. They carve their smiles, they follow fashion. They misinterpret my words, they don't want my opinion. They wear their guilt, they can't see I'm broken. They fail to hear me, they want me silence. They shrink away, they call my power violence. They invite challenge, they leave me on the front line. They include me when they want a token. They say, show me how. They have their problems. They want it written, they don't want it spoken. They come for my soul, they have already taken. They want me the same, they make me different. They want to be conscious, they want to do it right. They want me visible, They want me out of sight. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well done. They want me out of sight. Ay, ay, ay. I'm invisible to some. Well, we are here visible, and there are still 21 of us, and you know, I think that's marvelous to have 21 people listening to each other on Sunday, the 12th of December, 2021, on the Poetry and Prose program. There are a few more minutes, about 4 of them. It's quite a long time, but if someone else wants to read. But I want to.
I have one that is a little more in keeping with Christmas than the one I did just now.
Okay, you are fired up, Betty. Well done. Let's hear you.
Celebrations erupt, but have we forgotten, rather, have we ignored the significance of this season? Maybe it's time all of us stop and ponder this year. That's it.
That's it. I hear you, sister. I hear you. There's something.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I still have the prompt.
Oh,
Yeah.
Candy. Yes,
Yes.
please.
Excuse me for being nervous.
For being what?
Yeah, nervous.
Oh,
still relatively new to the group. Yeah.
Yeah, use it to power yourself, your work.
Yeah. Well, this is for the prompt here, but I just went 5 words over. I apologize. Yeah. Checking his list twice. Have you been naughty or nice? Remember, he comes into homes of everyone. Santa laughs, ho, 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 then eats cookies under your mistletoe, making not a sound, as he wants not to be found. So be good this year. That's it.
Yeah, please say it again. A little more slowly this time, but yeah,
Okay.
repeat it, please. Yes, thanks.
Okay. Checking his list twice. Have you been naughty or nice? Remember, he comes into homes of everyone. Santa laughs, ho, 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 then eats cookies under your mistletoe, making not a sound, as he wants not to be found. So be good this year.
You are faithful to the prompt. You are faithful to the prompt, and a very well-written piece. Certainly, loved by us here, I'm sure. Speaking for everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Michael? Thank
Yes,
you,
Cassie.
Yes, Michael.
Yeah, I have a little something here I wanted to read. I just sit for you. You hear me?
Yes, this is you?
Yes, me.
This is what you wrote?
Yes, of course.
Oh, okay, right.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the frog in the cactus.
All right.
To some, it may be thorns. To you, it is home. Live your life. Love your life. Sing your song. Sing your song. Do your dance. Not a backward glance. Like it's your only chance. Do your dance. Live your life. Love your life. Sing your song. Yes, thank you.
Yes, Michael. Thank you very much. Yeah. See, that's how it is. Sing your song, we get inspired, we get fired up. You know, the word, we found the word. I got a poster recently that said that we can only receive the word, we can't touch the word. But you know, I believe that when we touch the word, we got to. How else would it reach where it goes? For others to receive it, you know, we must touch the word. So some posters, you know, try to outdo themselves. So I believe we touch the word with our tongue, our minds, our pens, our everything. Thanks again, Michael. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
You're welcome. I think I was, well, I mentioned something about something in the chat now. Oh, yes. Just for the purpose, Ms. Ferguson Heather said that we are experiencing that here in Canada too. And I think she is referring to Aisha's invisibility.
Right.
Am I right?
Yes, yes, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
With our Aboriginal people, we're finding so many mass graves of children who were killed by the system, really, because they were taken away from their parents and sent to residential schools, but they were abused there, and we're just finding thousands and thousands of bodies now, almost 100 years later, and these people were invisible. Their culture was taken away. Their language was taken away. It's scarcely better now for people of color in Canada. You know, their racism is here. It's well hidden, but it's here. It's systematic. It's in the system. So I really identified with her work. I found it was quite relevant, even for today, unfortunately. So thank you for that.
Yes, and thank Aisha for that. Aisha, thank you. Thank you for the addition. Heather, for this.
Yeah, thank you.
So there we have it, almost to the end of our beautiful 2 hours spent together. Still 21 of us here present. And I think I will use the rest of our, oh, we are after 3. Wow, didn't even realize that. So yeah, we sometimes do that too. So I'll take about 2 minutes just to, not just to, but 2 minutes to say thank you all very much for making today what it is. Without you, this could not have happened. And I am indeed happy to have had the presence of my friends, my family. I think one of my sons is also on the screen. I want to thank family and friends for turning up, turning out. I then want to thank my readers who volunteered, who stayed the course, who contributed, who did excellent interpretations that I would never have thought of. You know, I've never have thought of expressing those words in the way that you all did. Made my paws raise, made me smile, made me laugh, made me feel that, yeah, I have contributed something somewhere, sometime. Yeah, so my son is on the line, yeah, great. Thanks, Nandi. And I want to thank, of course, the founder and the organizers, an organizer, first of all, Motilal, for helping me out in the early years when I was asked to do this. And those members of Poetry and Prose who I hardly know and who yet came to the fore when I asked them if they would read and turned up and are here now today. You know, so those members of Prose and Poetry who I have only just met, made acquaintances with. You hardly know me, I hardly know you, and yet here we are. And I feel very humbled about that, honored. Aisha, Dr. Aisha, Mckenzie, Mavinger, so great to have you here as a reader to open our program here today. Much thanks. Arlene as MC today, great stuff. Did not only MC but read too. Did it in a timely manner to introduce our prompt today. Harry and Mutte, and then we had our nice surprises with well, for me at least, Betty coming through there, Kareem coming through there. Excellent stuff. So I'm going to close. I did say I wanted to mention some other ancestors. Some of them should have been online today, but they won't. But nevertheless, just a brief. This is from my first book. I had also said thanks to Chet, of course, Joseph Cummins, Samueletta, this is Kernahan, used to be an ambassador to Cuba in the what was it, the partnership government, fellow poetess of mine from early o'clock in the Writers Union, Mckenzie the artist, Brother Book, Brother Babu, Lasana Kwesi, deceased, MZ, who could have been here today, but he's down a bit. Omawale, Parmasad, Harry Sharan would remember him, Van Stewart was mentioned earlier, Erasto, Vandele, etc., Zola, Ola, Abdul, Sekou, the rest. To all of you, thank you very much. And finally, the foreword from the editor of my middle book here is like this. This poetry collection of Cassie Senge, and please, you are in this, in what I'm reading here. This is not really only about me, but it's about all of us here, I believe, and see it that way, and I think all will be well. This poetry collection of Cassie Senge, Senghor, is alive with meaning through descriptive words. It uses language richly with alliteration and imagery that causes reading to be filtered with the sound of an African drum, the tapping of feet, and a feeling that the body is in dance motion. However, these poems espouse a philosophy which is projected with many themes, such as friendship, unrequited love, intimacy, struggle, identity, liberation, self-image, conformity, heroes. These contextualize the poet's feelings about life, community, and Caribbean history. While many of these poems may be deemed personal, there's an objectivity which allows the reader to relate or to share Cassie's space. Therefore, each poem, regardless of its weight, can engage readers to explore their own feelings, to raise their own questions, or to redefine the problems the poet delineates. In other words, this collection, without a dogma attached, provides an opportunity for participation with a critical voice. As a result, the emotional aspect is strong as the poet seems to present issues of our human condition with intent to make a person accountable. Poetry is necessary to enable intense communication. When we are in conversation, do we deeply divulge all that we feel? Cassie's work is important to provide strong examples of how poetry can allow us to expose sensitive thoughts and perceptions aimed to either calm or energize us. In fresh and creative language, it makes these stanzas real and memorable and encourages us to better observe our experiences. This initiative is commendable, making us ask more. Dr. Yvonne Bob Smith, and this was back, she wrote that in 2013. And here we are today, 8 years later, with me finding it relevant, and hopefully, assuredly, you do too. It's all about all of us, especially when we read and write. So with that, I want to say thank you all again for Gersha for being, having the foresight, the wisdom to have a forum like this for us. Well, job well done. If you're not here, it's recorded and you will know our appreciation of what you have done. So thanks for putting your hands together, Arlene. I am putting mine together also with a bow. I'm wishing all of you all a safe journey, good health. I love you all, Nandi and Akila. Love you all, love you all. Thanks for coming. Bye for now. Take good care.
Thanks for the invitation, Cassie. I enjoyed the experience.
Lovely.